Why this? Oh, now you pick up my voice. Okay. Oh, man. You guys do not know the struggle that I just had setting up this stream. Oh no, Vesta, stop eating plastic! Why are you doing this? It's been a time. So, alright. I got home. Okay, so first off, I made a post on Blue Sky explaining today's stream is going to be shorter. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because of that. So, we are getting into the busy season at work. I'll be honest, I don't know how many more midweek streams I'm going to be able to do. I kind of started them a little later than I probably should have, and now we basically have no time to do them. So, this isn't going to be the last one, I hope. I'm not going to be able to stream next Wednesday because, going out of town for the weekend, which means I'm also not streaming Sunday. Either way, so it's been a bit of a hectic time. I had to go run some errands after work today, and now I'm staying straight until 5. I don't get to leave early anymore because there's too much to do. So, I had to, go to the nearby pharmacy to pick up some stuff. I had to go get wet food for my cat. I had to go and pick up just some other random stuff. I picked up Popeyes as well, because I'm like, I'm not cooking tonight. I do not feel up to cooking. Because, last night I spent, I think it was like almost, 2 hours in a voice chat with friends after spending a solid, like, 9 hours that day talking to people already. So, just, yeah. And then, the day before that, I also had to go and run some different errands for different things. Mostly tax stuff, because it's tax season, yay. At least I might get a good tax return. But anyways, so it's like, I finally get back. And it's like 20 to 6. So, boot up my computer, wait the 5 minutes for everything to open. We're good, we're good. So, I go to log in, well, first I set up the stream, and that all goes well. I go to log into Blue Sky. For some reason, I am now logged out of Blue Sky on my PC. So I'm like, okay, I'll just log back in. I know the password I used. Turns out, I changed it at some point. So, I had to go into my funny little notebook that I keep of all my passwords and shit. And turns out I did not update it with the new password. Because I'm stupid. So, I had to basically, like, crack the code by just, like, taking parts of, like, different passwords I've used in the past and just, like, fitting them together like puzzle pieces. I did eventually crack the code. It's mostly just that, like, I didn't want to change it again and then think up the new username, or not the username, the password, and then go, oh, wait a minute. I've already used that one. That was the one that I already used for this, and now I can't use it anymore. I've done that on so many websites. So anyways, I finally log into Blue Sky, get that posted. get stuff posted in the Valor Valkyrie Discord, because it's kind of like the one Discord that I post my links in nowadays. And actually, I forgot to post it to my friends. Fuck, that's the other Discord that I posted in. It's not a public one, but you know what? I'm just gonna post a link, because also, yeah, I was doing it while I was trying to, like, set up the like, chat on this screen, and also on my other scene. So I ended up posting the link to the chat only, instead of, like, the stream itself, so that was fun. So then, I go to open up OBS, and it's like, oh, well, OBS has to update. Oh, also, when I turned on my computer, it was also like, oh, yeah, your computer is updating. So I'm like, great, okay. I was able to just skip the OBS update, so that turned out okay. However, then it's like, I go to open up VTube Studio, and VTube Studio just takes fucking forever to open, and then I open up Stream, and VoiceMod isn't recognizing my earphones anymore. And also, I do have a little bit of sad news on the VoiceMod front, because, okay, here's the bullshit of now with VoiceMod. The program that I love, that always works, and that has no scummy components at all. I am VoiceMod's biggest hater. Anyways, so, yesterday when I was setting up a group chat with friends, I tried to open up VoiceMod, because I'm like, okay, this is where my mic goes through. And I find that whenever I don't have my mic going through VoiceMod, people are like, yeah, your voice is so quiet, I can barely hear you. So it's kind of a necessity for calls. So I go to open up VoiceMod, and I guess the last update... just, like, logged me out for some reason. So I'm like, okay, I can either log in through Discord, or I can log in through Google. Well, what's the most likely? I was like, okay, I use this primarily for streaming. So I'll log into my, like, streaming email. I was incorrect. And it basically just automatically set up a new profile for me. Like, it just logged me into a new profile. I'm like, okay, thanks. I didn't ask for this. You could have said, like, hey, there's no account with this address. Would you like to make one? And I would have said no, and I would have gone and done the correct one. But whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll just log out and then log back in. I log out. I go to log back in. It automatically logs me into the new Gmail. Instead of, like, letting me log in a different way. And there is no button to stop it that I can find. I literally have to contact support in order to log out of my one account and log into my actual account. It is such a backward system. There needs to be an alternative to VoiceMod, like, right this fucking second. Like, I wish I could code. I would make it myself, because, like, fuck, this program pisses me off. Anyways, hi KP, welcome to the stream. It's been, rapid fire talking for all this time, but, I'm gonna stop yapping relatively soon, because we got Steins Gate. We got some Steins Gate to play. So, last time, we did a few things. I believe that was when we went to the radio building with Maho. Oh, right, no, Maho went back to the States, and, she learned that her professors, or, like, her two senior, professors, basically, just a second, I just realized this is still set up for Disco Elysium. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Just a sec. There we go. Now it should be fine. Alright, but yeah, so last time, Maho kind of got roped into this, like, conspiracy on accident, and now she and, Dr. Leskinen are back in Tokyo, and it's like 6 months later, it's summer again. And, also, Kagari attacked, the lab, and, fought Suzuha while Suzuha was naked, and, it got broken up by Daru, and Kagari ran off. We don't know what is going on. Had a busy day, so I'm probably gonna pass out watching the streams, but hopefully I get to see you go sicko mode before I do. Oh, it's not me going sicko mode, it's Kagari. Kagari is the one going sicko mode. Also, this is so loud. Just a sec. Oh, right, I had my volume turned up to 69 yesterday. Nice. Okay. Now that I think about it, quick load probably does just load the last save you made, but like, fuck it. But anyways, yeah, this one in the endings, for anyone who is watching this one first for some reason. This one in the ending, guide that I was looking at, it's straight up just called The Bad Ending. All the other ones have character names attached. This one is just The Bad Ending. So, excited and also scared. It would be dangerous to run around trying to find her now. There was a chance Itaru would be attacked while she wasn't at the lab.
今のってまさかKagariたん?
Itaru came outside as well.
多分間違いない。
そっか。
Now my left monitor is flickering. I really need to get a better adapter for this monitor, because I got one, like, just off of Amazon, and it's never worked properly. But it's one of those things where it's like, I can usually live with it, and it doesn't always flicker. It's only every once in a while. So, it hasn't gotten fixed. Maybe someday.
結局、あの子とはこうなっちゃうんだな。
The bruise and wounds were bad enough, but the pain that ached in her heart was the worst of all.
私さ、あの子のこと本当に好きだったんだ。小さくても勇敢で、まゆ姉さんを守るためにいつも頑張ってて。私もそんなあの子にいろいろなことを教えた。きっと妹みたいに思ってた。
Yeah, streaming gods really did let me have it today. But then again, it's not an EN-VTuber stream without some kind of scuff. Time for Steins Gate and the Infinite Sadness. Hell yeah, 100th Assassin, welcome to the stream. I've just realized that I don't think I've done... Like, I've been trying to do the What's Up Watchers sign-in from now on. And every time I do, I have technical difficulties, and then I just hop into talking about the technical difficulties. That's unrelated to the scene.
あいつはもう完全に敵だ。
Itaru straightened up her shirt sleeves.
今の鈴葉、なんかエロゲーの地上キャラっぽい格好になってる。
You... Daru... You're not helping! Actually, no, you might be helping in the sense of, like, you're just, like, completely shocking her out of, like, whatever train of thought she was on. It's like that one, like, screenshot of a 4chan post that someone is recounting how, like, they were in a mental hospital for suicidal depression, and they were crying, and one of the A's just went, "Are you, like, legit sad?" And it shocked them, like, straight out of their emotional breakdown. I think about that post on a regular basis. Not daily, but, like, maybe weekly. I think about, are you, like, legit sad? Suzuha was caught completely off guard. True, her t-shirt only came down to just below her hips, roughly the length of a miniskirt. Her breasts were almost completely bared. The shirt's hem was turned up and she felt exposed.
まあ僕は地上物も結構いける口なんで、乱れた裸 T シャツというのもありといえばありですが、むふ。
That's your daughter! Shut the fuck up!
またそうやってふざける。大怪我してたかもしれないのに。
But Itaru shook his head.
僕さ、さっきはナイフ見て騒いじゃったけど、でも怖がる必要なかったんじゃないかなって。あれがもし僕の聞き間違いじゃなかったら。
Itaru rubbed the part of his neck where the knife blade was.
ナイフを突きつけられてた時、ほんの少しだけど聞こえたんだよ。
何が？
彼女、多分泣いてた。
Ooh. So she doesn't want to be doing this either. Maybe because, like, we do know that Kagari is like a kind of sleeper agent. So maybe, like, she was in sleeper agent mode during that time. But she was, like, fighting from the inside. Trying to stop what she was doing.
Huh?
Crying? Under that helmet? After that whole battle with Suzuha? While holding a knife to Itaru's neck? But why?
だからさ、決めつけるのはまだ早いんじゃね？
父さん。アイス買ってきてくれた？バニラ。
ああ、もちろん。
食べたいな。私ちょっと疲れちゃった。
Or are you gonna pass out? Oh, you're passing out, okay. And then she almost fell forward. Itaru managed to catch her before she hit the ground.
おい、鈴葉。
ごめん、平気。でも少しだけ休ませて。
That was all she had the energy to say. She closed her eyes in her dad's arms and her consciousness melted away. Back to this guy! When July came, the sun shone down even harder on eastern Japan. Summer was truly here. The news had been saying for days that the heat island effect might make this the hottest summer in years. And then on the first Sunday in July, I met with Maho in Akihabara. I was waiting at the open cafe at the UPX when Maho arrived. She was a little late.
Okabe-san!
久しぶり。
She ordered a nice coffee and took a deep breath.
と言っても、いつもビデオチャットで顔は合わせてるが。
そうね。あまり久しぶりという感じはしないわ。
Her habit of paying no attention to her clothes or looks hadn't changed at all in the last 6 months. People were going to think she was an elementary school kid who decided to go play at a friend's house. But it would upset her if I said that, so I never would.
まさかこっちに来てるとは思わなかったよ。偶然レスキネン教授と会わなかったら今も知らないままだった。
落ち着いたら連絡するつもりだったのよ。クリスのことで定期的な連絡はいずれにせよしなければならないのだし。
今回は新型脳炎の研究だって。
レスキネン教授はね。私はその助手という立場だけど、どちらかというとアマデウス担当。何か不具合はない？と言っても、これもいつも報告は受けているから大体の状況は分かっているつもりだけれど。
ああ、特に問題ない。最近はクリスの相手をするのに苦労してるけどな。
ちょっと。
I heard a voice from my smartphone, which I'd placed on the table.
苦労ってどういう意味？
I'd left the Amadeus app turned on. Of course, Kurisu could hear everything we said.
最初に会った頃よりちょっと口調がきつくなってきてる気がする。
あんたが勝手に私にビビってるだけでしょ？
かもな。
It was turning into our old relationship in the Alpha World line, where we'd fought all the time. I was starting to lose track of whether that was a good or bad thing for me. I'm pretty sure it's bad. You're replacing your dead GF, whose death gave you PTSD, with a smartphone app. I don't think that's a good thing. I'd thought I was trying to forget about Kurisu.
ヒアジョーさんは初めて会った時の方が口調はきつかったな。
あれは初対面の人には先輩はきついのよ。 なぜかというと年相応に見てもらえないから。
The two of them spoke in unison.
だからついカリカリしちゃうのよ。ある程度親しくなれば容姿のことも言われなくなるでしょ。だから心穏やかに話せるというだけ。
I guess I was right not to comment on her outfit. That was a close call.
アマデウスの話に戻すけど、クリスの口調がきつくなったというのは面白い兆候だわ。私や教授の前では見せない一面なわけでしょ。それだけ深く心を開いているとも言えるかもしれない。開いてません。
Maho simply smiled and ignored her.
そうした心の動きをプログラムとして解析できるから、私や教授と話しているだけでは決して見られなかった変化だわ。それだけで岡部さんにテストを続けてもらった価値もあるというものよ。
そんなものか。
レスキネン教授もその点を高く評価していたわ。過大評価だと思いますが、実際私と話す時も文句や愚痴が多いですし、あまり男らしくないというか。
Get roasted, I guess. Well, I knew my personality had gotten a bit negative, especially given what I'd been through. But did she really need to say that to Maho right now? An eye for an eye it is then.
ちなみに今まで報告していなかったことがあるんだが。
何かしら。
これはおそらくヒヤジョーさんやレスキネン教授も把握していないことだと思う。
待って、あんた何の話をしようとしてるの？真帆先輩や教授が把握していないことって私についての？
栗ご飯とカメハメハといえばわかるか？
Get revealed, Kurisu. A few weeks ago, I'd actually searched for Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha on a whim. It was the handle Kurisu had used on that channel when she was still alive. From what I'd seen, the comment started in the summer of 2008, then abruptly stopped in July of 2010. And then started up again in December of that same year. Oh! Oh man, AI's posting on social media. This game was ahead of its time. Even now in July of 2011, they were still appearing. If it wasn't Kurisu's ghost and it wasn't an imposter, then the one who could be writing those posts was...
Okabe Rintaro-san, ちょっと2人だけで話をしましょうか。
やっぱりお前の仕業だったか。
You realize this means we should be hunting for an IPN right now. I mean, the thing is, we're already in 2025. Okabe is already technically dead. Or at least the world believes him to be dead. Perhaps we can stop this terrible future. I mean, I guess that's true. There's no reason why Okabe has to be the one to do it. We could figure it out promptly.
さすがに黙っているのはまずいんじゃないか。
真帆先輩に報告するなんてもっとまずいわよ。
なんで？
私がアートチャンネルを見てることは一言も教えてないからに決まってるでしょ。
堂々としていればいいじゃないか。アットチャンネルを見るのも書き込むのも別に犯罪じゃないんだし。そうだろ？アットチャンネラークリス。あんたね、次にその呼び方したらあることないことアットちゃんに書き込んでやるわよ。それこそ犯罪一歩手前の行為だろう。
All we need are several very intelligent people who have been researching time travel for years to do all the heavy lifting. Then someone to shoulder the infinite sadness. Okay, the thing is, several very intelligent people researching time travel for years is exactly what caused this in the first place. We do need someone to shoulder the infinite sadness, though. You are correct on that front. I couldn't help but laugh. Conversations like this brought back so many memories. I used to be so full of myself that I'd tick off Kurisu all the time.
ねえ、一体何の話？
何でもありません。気にしないでください。海馬からきれいさっぱり今日の記憶を頬張り去ってください。
隠していたっていつかはバレるぞ。
あんたはいいから黙りなさい。
やっぱりあなたたち半年前よりずっと仲良くなっているわね。
あ、先輩、すみません。
どうして謝るの？
いえ、せっかく岡部と真帆先輩久々に会ったのに私ばかり話してしまって。というわけで、あとはお二人でごゆっくりどうぞ。
別にそんなつもりで言ったんじゃないわよ。
それもこれも岡部が変なことを言い出したせいね。
そうなのか。栗ご飯とカメハメハ。
お願いだから言わないで。
Just like the real Kurisu, she was strangely obsessed with hiding the fact that she was an ad channeler.
ちょっと頭を冷やしたいので一度切りますね。失礼します。
Kurisu disappeared from the screen. Kurisu had been kind of rude lately, so it felt good to have a chance to get back at her. If I overdid it, she was probably going to hold a grudge, so this was likely a good place to stop.
栗ご飯って何なのよ。
どうしても知りたかったらクリスに聞いてくれ。
If I explained it, she'd probably get mad and refuse to talk to me again.
それで今回はどれぐらいの間こっちに滞在することになりそうなんだ？
前よりも長くなるかもしれないわね。レスキネン教授が研究している新型脳炎は未だに詳しいことがほとんど分かっていないようだから、もしかしたら私だけ先に帰らされる可能性もあるけど。
時間があったらラボにも顔を出してみるといい。ダルやマユリもきっと喜ぶはずだ。
マユリさんはともかく橋田さんはどうかしら。
Completely fair! I don't blame you! Maho was finally starting to understand Daru's true nature. Speaking of Daru, he should be on a date with Yuki Amane right now.
ち
Nice!
なみにクリスのノート PC はその後どうしたの？
あれは破棄したよ。それが一番いい判断だったんだ。前にそう話しただろう。
ええ、そうね。
She was probably sent here specifically to get that laptop, huh? She looked down, a sad expression on her face. I told her I was going to do it ahead of time, but it still must have upset her to see one of the last things she had to remember Kurisu by destroyed. Okay, a Suzuha scene. About half the seats at Go-Go Curry were full. It was Sunday, but it was also after 2 p.m., and so the lunchtime rush was over. Suzuha was sitting at the restaurant's far edge, a baseball cap pulled down over her face. She was hiding her face with the cap, and carefully watching a couple sitting nearby. Oh, I guess this is the date?
お待ちどうさま、メジャーカレーです。
Major Curry. One of the items on the Go-Go Curry menu. It consists of an extra large portion of rice, a pork loin katsu, chicken katsu, hot dogs, fried shrimp with tartar sauce, and a boiled egg. Damn, that's a lot. I wish we had Japanese curry places where I live. Like, my friend Blake, who I streamed with on Friday, we're actually, like, relatively old friends. I think we've known each other for about as long as I've known Val. And I went to her place once, and she made, like, me and a bunch of our other friends, like, just a big pot of, like, Japanese-style curry, and it was so fucking good. The issue is, 1, I don't know how to make it myself. 2, even if I did, it's probably got too many ingredients for me to actually, like, go out and buy, especially at the moment. And, 3, I don't remember what number 3 was supposed to be. Fuck, I lost my train of thought, no! I hate it when I feel like my fucking mental RAM just clear out. It's like, please, stay with me! Michael, my son! Dang, she wasn't sleeping, now we can't call her Snoozaha. You can buy packs of golden curry. Oh, can you? Shit, I might have to do that then. I would love to just be able to make myself like a nice, like, I feel like Indian curry would also be really good. The issue is, I have no spice tolerance. The issue is my spice tolerance is very low. It's like, I can eat some things that like other members of my family can't. Like, members of my family have straight up told me that Popeye's french fries are too spicy for them. So, it's like, I don't have the worst spice tolerance of my family. I'm still not good with it. And I feel like Indian food would have a lot of spices in it, even the mild version. And it's like, every time that I try to like eat something real spicy, even though I don't really have that much spice tolerance, 1, I don't enjoy it as much, and 2, I get stomach trouble afterwards. So it's like, Get mild spice golden curry. I see. I'll have to check that out. I'll have to see if like any of the grocery stores in my area sell that, because that sounds good, and it sounds like something that'd be really easy to make, like just once I get home from work. Here you are, your major curry. Oops. A cheerful employee put down 2 silver plates, or trays more accurately, in front of them. Suzuha could see the other customers looking at them and whispering. The couple really stood out after all. The man was a giant who looked like he ate major curry all the time. But the woman was slim, pretty, and looked very kind. The combination of huge man and slim woman was as unbalanced as the combination of pretty girl and major curry. Hey! Pretty girls can eat a fuck ton. I do it all the time. The major curry was big. It was huge. Suzuha knew from experience. The massive silver trays were loaded with rice and curry, topped with 2 fried cutlets, fried shrimp, sausage, a boiled egg, and a mountain of cabbage. There was 2 or 3 times as much curry as you'd find in a normal dish, and the toppings were just as big. This sounds amazing! I want this now! You still gotta cut up the potatoes, vegetables, and meat, but it's my go-to meal prep for a few days. Hell yeah. Actually, if it's a meal prep thing, it might be, yeah, you gotta make the rice or noodles yourself. That's understandable. I'd probably go with rice. The couple of times that I've had curry in the past, it's been on rice, and it's like, it's good. I feel like noodles would just, like, it'd just be harder to eat. Like, I guess it'd be easier to eat with chopsticks, but, like, look at me. I am not eating rice with chopsticks. I don't have the fucking chopstick skills for that. But yeah, it's like, if it's a meal prep thing, then hell, that might actually be good for, like, work lunches and stuff. It'd be really tasty, and it would remove the urge to go to one of, like, the fast food places nearby for lunch sometimes when I only have, like, a can of chicken noodle soup in my bag. Fortunately, at the moment, I have pizza pockets, which, are pretty good. I lack the chops for sticks, you are correct. Even a growing young boy would find it hard to eat them all. Suzuha was irritated. The Beauty and the Beast couple. Okay, mean to Daru. I know he's a pervert, but also... The Beauty and the Beast couple that Suzuha was watching, of course, was Itaru and Yuki. In the morning, they'd gone to see a movie in Yurakucho? Probably. Then they'd come to Akihabara and gone straight to Go-Go Curry. This curry sounds like one beans short of a full English breakfast curry. I mean, it's also got shrimp. I think you don't find that in a full English breakfast all that much. But then again, I don't know much about English breakfasts, so I don't know. Maybe you guys have, maybe they have shrimp. Suzuha had followed them the whole time. That's why she couldn't believe Itaru's choice of date spots.
私はゴーゴーカレーでも全く問題ないけど、というかむしろ好きな方だけど、せっかくの初デートなんだからもうちょっと他に選択肢もあるだろう。
This is kind of like, this is probably like the Japanese equivalent of like, I don't know if it's like bringing your date to Popeyes for a first date level of like low class. But then again, it's like all the other date spots I can think of are probably too fancy for this. My money's on she makes daughter put on a teddy bear costume. She clutched her spoon tight and gritted her teeth. Suzuha knew next to nothing about Japanese youth culture in 2011, and even she knew it was a bad idea. Who knew what was going through Yuki's mind? Or so Suzuha thought. But...
うわー、写真よりもすごいですね。
Surprisingly, Yuki was ignoring the people around her and innocently enjoying the huge curry.
あまねし、もし食べきれなかったら、僕が食べてあげるですから。
はい、ありがとうございます。けど、これでも私、結構いけるんですよ。
そうですか。びっくりです。
実はいつもお店の外でメニューだけ見てて、一度食べてみたかったんですよね。連れてきてもらえて嬉しいです。
それは実に良かったです。
It's going good! Fuck yes! Suzuha had evidently worried over nothing, but still she realized that Itsuru was acting strangely. Ever since he'd come out of the movie theater, he was walking and talking strangely. Instead of his usual hunched posture, he was forcing himself to stand up straight. His every movement seemed oddly forced, as if he were a broken robot. He's nervous! He's on his first date! He's nervous! And he downed glass after glass of water. He's nervous!
あ、ごめんなさい。私にもお水のおかわりを。
はい、どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。
Itoru poured water into Yuki's cup. Suzuha had a bad feeling. She was right. Itoru was moving so awkwardly that he almost spilled water on her hand.
大丈夫ですか？
ええ、ちょっと手が濡れただけですから。それより早く食べましょう。
Yuki quickly wiped down the table with her handkerchief and grabbed her fork and spoon. There were stars in her eyes.
それじゃあ、いただきます。
いただきます！
いただきます。
Yuki seemed to be really enjoying her meal, but Itoru was very formal and quiet. He was taking little nibbles out of a piece of fried cutlet, like a squirrel eating a nut. The whole time they weren't saying a word.
一体何をやってるんだ父さんは。あんなんじゃ母さんに愛想つかされちゃうよ。
She decided to send him a message on Ride telling him to get his act together, and she'd just taken out her phone when...
はい、メジャーカレールーマシーお待たせしました。
You got two of them?! A huge plate was laid on the table in front of her. The other customers... Oh! Daughter ordered one for her! The other customers started murmuring again. Come to think of it, when she'd followed them into the store, she'd ordered her usual major curry with extra roux, and then forgotten about... Oh, okay, I see what happened. Now everybody was going to focus on her. In a small shop like this, it was suicide.
あら？
Just as she expected, her eyes met Yuki's.
鈴葉さん、いたんですか？うん、偶然だね、ゆきさん、兄さん。声かけてくれればよかったのに。いや、気がつかなかったんだよ、全然。
Very convincing. She realized that she should probably just leave, but she couldn't go without at least taking a bite of the major curry in front of her. Like, yeah, that's a waste of food. Her experiences in the war had left her completely unable to waste food. Understandable. She felt Yuki and Itaru staring at her as she reluctantly picked up her spoon.
とまあ、そういうことなんで、二人ともごゆっくり。
Her only choice was to finish her extra-large curry as soon as possible. She couldn't let herself be in the way. But instead, Yuki came over and picked up Suzuha's plate.
すみません、店員さん。お友達なんですけど、席を移ってもいいでしょうか。
はい、どうぞ。
OK です。
Oh boy.
一緒に食べましょうよ。
You should have just left well enough alone, Suzuha!
ちょっと、なんで？
This is how the Zero Escape series starts! You know, I was just yesterday explaining the plot of Zero Time Dilemma to a couple of my friends who know fucking nothing about Zero Escape. And showing them, like, the fucking my motives are very complex memes. That's actually why, if you guys saw my Blue Sky post yesterday that was just, like, Uchikoshi games are just David Cage games if they were good and also epic. That's because of that conversation, because, after we were done that, like, I don't remember how the topic of heavy rain came up, but, like, I think it's that a plot point was, like, compared to Heavy Rain, and I was like, no, that's a plot point that would happen in the Indigo Prophecy, and they were like, what is that? And I was like, oh boy, let me show you! And I showed them the fucking wizard duel at the end of the game, and also the part where you're in the dream sequence and the angels come and fight you. There is a direct line to Heavy Rain. Exactly. Like, we went from Zero Escape. It's because, okay, first I was explaining AI the Somnium Files and showing off, like, the dance sequence ending because Val had just popped into the chat and was showing us, like, the ending of Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, where it's just a fucking dance sequence, and I'm like, this is like if an Uchikoshi, like, this is like if AI the Somnium Files had more animation budget, because they did the same thing. Whenever I see a dance ending in anything now, I'm like, oh, like AI the Somnium Files! I know that game! So that's where the through line happened. I love conversations that just evolve from one topic to another. Admittedly, that one was me kind of like overtaking the conversation, which I don't feel great about. I feel like I do that a whole lot. I just like to yap. I'm sorry. I will try to not yap as much. But, yeah, anyways.
なんでって、ほら、鈴葉さんのメジャーカレーじゃないですか。これはぜひ勝負せねばと思って。
A race?
はあ？審判は橋田さんにやってもらいましょう。
And before Suzuha could respond, Yuki had moved her plate over to their table.
いや、
She had no choice but to follow, but before she sat down, she whispered in Yuki's ear.
デート中なんだよね。え？あ、そうです。デート中です。改めて言われると照れますね。
Itaru didn't react at all, even though she was sure he'd overheard that.
私デートとかしたことないから詳しくないんだけどさ。デート中に 他の女とカレーの早食い対決したりするもんなの？さあ、どうでしょう。でもほら、アニメとかコミックスとかにそういうのありません？
Do you? I feel like I don't watch enough anime or read enough manga to know these things.
お兄ちゃんを取られたくない妹が彼女さんに向かって勝負だみたいなの。
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought it was specifically the curry eating thing that they were talking about. I'm like, huh? Is it a thing? Is it a thing? I don't know shit. For some reason, Yuki seemed incredibly enthused. Suzuha was overwhelmed by her energy.
知らないってば。そういうものなの？兄さん。
But even when she turned to Itaru for help, he just awkwardly sat there eating his curry like a robot.
兄さん？
He awkwardly turned his head to face her. The rest of him stayed completely still.
なんか言った？
どうしたのさ？なんかおかしいよ。
どうもしてないおかしくない
Nope. If you say it like that, no one will believe you.
お？
Correct response. Suzuha glanced back at Yuki. And for the first time, Yuki looked concerned. In the end, Yuki and Suzuha did have their curry eating contest, and surprisingly, both of them completely finished their meals. Suzuha won by a very small margin, but the battle was exciting enough that not only the other customers, but the staff as well were applauding at the end. But the whole time, Itaru kept eating by himself. Since this wasn't even a conversation, let alone a date, she sent Itaru home alone. Part of her wanted to demand Itaru explain himself right now, but she decided to talk to Yuki instead. She tried her best to avoid Yuki so far in order to keep her identity a secret, but it was July now. She would be gone from this era very soon. This might be her last chance to talk to Yuki at all.
鈴葉さんがいてくれて助かりました。
Yuki sighed a little after Itaru left.
私、もしかしたら気に障るようなことをしちゃったのかもしれません。橋田さん、私といてもあんまり楽しくないみたいだったから。
No!
緊張してただけじゃないかな。でも映画を見る前は楽しそうにお話ししてくれてたんですよ。それが映画の後はすっかりよそよそしくなってしまって。
Is the joke gonna be like, oh, he was just having stomach problems? Like, is that what it's gonna be? It's like he was feeling sick, but he didn't want to bring it up and ruin the date.
私、何か間違っちゃったのかな。カレー屋さんに連れて行ってもらったのも私のリクエストだったんですけど、ずっとあの調子だったからさすがにちょっと困ってしまって。それで偶然お店にいた鈴葉さんに助けを求めたというわけです。
What had happened inside the theater? Suzuha hadn't followed them inside. She'd spent about 2 hours killing time outside.
あのさ、ゆきさんはなんで兄さんのこと好きになったの？いや、私が言うのもなんだけど、あんまりモテるタイプじゃないじゃん、兄さんって。
Fair point, fair point.
鈴葉さんはお兄さんのことどう思います？私？好きですか？嫌いですか？好きですよね。見ていればわかります。まあ、
There were parts of him that she didn't like. But of course, she loved her dad.
で、私のことは別にどうでもいいじゃないか。 それでユキさんは？私はまだ好きかどうかもよくわからないです。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
そっか。
Not only had Itaru not told Yuki that he liked her, this was still their first date. And they hadn't spoken that much before either. She hadn't even reached the point where she saw him as a member of the opposite sex. For almost a year, Suzuha had stayed with him, and she, Mayuri, and Ferris had done everything they could to get the two of them together. But there hadn't been any real progress. I wonder if the twist is gonna be like, yeah, because they were trying to get them together so hard, it put more pressure on them, and it's making it not happen. Suzuha felt uneasy when she thought about the future. Maybe her dad wouldn't be her dad anymore. Maybe her mom wouldn't be her mom anymore. Dad and mom wouldn't be together. She imagined that future.
そんなの嫌だ。
She looked straight into Yuki's eyes.
私さ、もうすぐここからいなくなるんだ。ちょっと遠いところに引っ越すんだよね。そうなんですか？多分戻ってこないと思う。心配なんだ。父さん、兄さんのこと。だからさ、ユキさん、こんなこと私が頼むのもおかしな話なんだけど。
And then she bowed deeply.
橋田至をよろしくお願いします。
There was no answer from Yuki. Suzuha looked up afraid and tried to gauge the expression on her face. She looked kind of lonely and kind of sad.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね。
Yuki whispered, and then Suzuha.
もうどうするんだよ。これじゃ破局の危機だよ。まだ始まってもいないけど。
As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father.
おー、すずはごめんな。橋だけはもうダメなんだお。
しょぼくれてるんじゃない。シャレじゃ済まないんだ。とりあえず今日はなんであんな態度を取ったのかしっかり説明して。今朝出かけるときはあんなに楽しそうだったじゃないか。母さんだって映画の途中までは普通だったって言ってたし。一体何があったの？
いや、それがさ、聞いてくれよ。映画の座席って狭いじゃん。だから僕、天音氏の邪魔にならないようにと思ってできるだけ椅子の端っこに寄って座ってたんだよね。そしたら椅子がペキっていって壊れそうになって。
Uh-oh.
で慌てて体を支えようとして肘掛けを掴んだんだけど、それが肘掛けじゃなくて天音氏の
Lewd!
手だったんだお。
Lewd! You can't do that until after marriage! Everyone knows that!
そんなこと母さん一言も言ってなかったけど。
嘘じゃないよ。あの柔らかい感触は肘掛けのはずがない。女の子の手に決まってる。
そう。
ただ僕、女の子と手をつなぐなんて2次元ならともかく3次元じゃほとんど経験なくて。
それでどうしたの？
天音氏優しいからさ、僕を傷つけないようにと思ったのか、その手を振りほどかないんだお。僕ってこの体型じゃん。 手汗とかかきまくりじゃん。ベッタベッタになるわけじゃん。なのに天音氏何にも言わずそのままで、なんかそれからすごく意識するようになっちゃって。
ああ、なるほどね。そ
Yeah.
れであんなにポンコツになってたのか。
天音氏もきっと心の中でキモいうざい話せ変態って思ってたに違いないよ。
母さんはそんな人間じゃないよ。
In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she'd upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね。
What did she mean by that?
母さんがわからない。
鈴葉、こうなったら母さんのことは諦めて僕と二人で仲良く生きていこう。
言ってることがめちゃくちゃだよ。そもそも私はどうやって生まれてくればいいんだ。
でも無理だって。
父さんが頑張らないでどうするの？このピンチをチャンスに変えるんだよ。
She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him. Also, I've just realized how much this song sounds like a fucking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon song in some parts. Like, this section just sounds like a Mystery Dungeon track. She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him.
出ないと。
She remembered how sad Yuki had looked when they'd said goodbye.
出ないと取り返しがつかないことになるよ。
ですよね。
Suzuha was starting to wonder about leaving, especially now that she had even more to worry about. Maybe I shouldn't have talked to Yuki after all. She realized again how powerless she was being from the future. Back to this guy! The Global Brain Science Comprehensive Research Organization, Japanese Office Prep Room in Wako City. Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful! That's so long! That's so long for the name of a place! Okay, also, I will say, after this scene, I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream because, as mentioned on Blue Sky, no social battery. Work is getting busier. I have not eaten since noon. I am hungry. So, I mean, I typically aim for about an hour and a half, 2 hours anyways, so this should take about, like, 20 minutes to half an hour. We should be fine. The Global Brain Science Comprehensive Research Organization Japanese Office Prep Room in Wako City hadn't changed a bit in 6 months. Congrats on the job, thanks! I am still really enjoying it. I mean, there are definitely parts now that I find a lot more tedious than I did before, just because I've been doing them for like 2 months. Actually, tomorrow it will be exactly 2 months. I started on the 13th of January. Which means only 1 more month, and then I get a little raise, and I also start getting benefits. Fuck yes. If they keep me. I actually had a stress stream last night about getting fired. I really don't want to lose this job. The issue is my last job kind of like shot my work ethic. Because by the end of that job, like the last like 3-4 months, because there was like no work for me to do in the office, we were getting like no business. And also because I'm like, hey, you guys have done some like really scummy shit, and I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I don't care about this job. I don't care how well it pays. I don't give a damn. So, I was just like reading full-ass books and playing Flight Rising for like most of my workday. So I feel like I'm so used to not taking jobs seriously that now at this job, it's like I haven't been taking it as seriously as I really should be. And as seriously as I've taken like every other job I've had in the past, including the beginning of my last job. Because I took that job extremely seriously at first. It's like, fuck, I need to get back into the mindset of, hey, this job fucking matters. Hey, I want to stay here forever, if possible. Or, I mean, you know, at least a decade. A decade would be awesome. I would fucking love to be in the same job and not have to job hunt for 10 years. That's the dream. It's a sad dream, but it's a dream. It was still far from being what it needed to be, and still almost completely empty. There were rows and rows of empty desks. The amount of dust on the tables had perhaps increased. After Dr. Leskinen had left, it had probably remained unused.
わざわざ呼びつけてすまないね、リンタロウ。
ああ、いえ。
Dr. Leskinen had told me he wanted to update the Amadeus app to the latest version, so I'd come to his office after class. Maho had connected my phone to her PC to begin the process. He said it would only take 10 minutes, so I was sitting around and waiting.
ところでリンタロウ、以前にも話したと思うが、本気で留学について考えてみないかい？
え？
君が問題なければ推薦状も書こうじゃないか。もちろんテストや面接はパスする必要があるけどね。
Understandable. It seems like a pretty, like, high-ranked university, but also it's like, I know that there's ulterior motives at play here. I frantically straightened my posture.
とてもありがたい話なんですが、今の俺の学力じゃまだ難しいかと。俺、真剣にビクトル・コンドリア大を目指しているんです。だからこそ、絶対に失敗したくなくて。そのためには、せめてあと1年、本気で勉強すべきだって思っていて。
Dr. Leskinen pursed his lips as I tried to stammer out an explanation. But soon...
Okay.
He patted me on the shoulder and smiled.
やはり君はとても思慮深い青年だね。
そうですか？そんな風に言われたのは初めてですが。
Saying it was one thing, but maybe I was just a coward. There were times when you needed the courage to move forward without being afraid of failure. Was now one of those times?
では、挑戦は来年かな？
そうですね。
Had I missed my chance? Would Dr. Leskinen wait until the next year? I started to get nervous.
根を詰めすぎるのも良くないよ。例えば大学を見学に行くだけでもモチベーションのアップにつながると思う。
見学ですか？
もしタイミングが合えば旅費は出すからぜひ一度一緒に行ってみないかい？
そこまでしてもらえるなんてありがとうございます。
もちろん私は次いつアメリカに帰れるかどうかわからないから時期については明言できないがね。
This would be such a sweet scene if I didn't know that he's a share.
はい。
I bowed my head in gratitude. Meeting Dr. Leskinen was a real lucky break for me. By chance, my eyes met Maho's. For some reason, her smile was a little sad. She quickly looked away and went back to her work. Maho was staying in a business hotel a few stops down from Wako City. She said she deliberately avoided staying in the same hotel as last time.
少し不便になったけれどね。
というか、少しは片付けたらどうだ
？She hadn't spent that much time in Japan and it was already messy.
片付ける？
Mood.
私は自分が一番効率的に過ごすことのできる配置をしているだけよ。
Which meant she was refusing the hotel's cleaning
そん
service.
な風にデリカシーが欠けてるから先輩にはいつまで経っても彼氏ができないんですよ。
I could hear Kurisu from my phone. She was annoyed. After the app updated, I left Amadeus running.
大きなお世話よ。
惨状で人を招くなんて普通は恥ずかしくてとてもできません。
Well, cleaning wasn't a specialty of mine either. It wouldn't be right to give her too much of a hard time.
それで俺に話って。
I'd come to Maho's hotel because she said she wanted to talk to me about something. I wouldn't have minded talking it out about... Jesus Christ. I wouldn't have minded talking about it in the office, but she insisted on speaking alone in her hotel room. I knew she didn't mean anything by it. After knowing her for half a year, I knew she wasn't the type. Maho looked like she was having trouble finding the words she wanted to
あ
say.
なたにまだ聞けていないから、クリスの事件の真相を。
I quickly shut down the Amadeus app.
それにタイムマシンのことについても聞きたいの。
Oh, that could have been a nice little bit of trickery from Maho there. Because obviously, when it comes to like Amadeus, Leskinen has access. He could probably see what's being spoken about. So you ask about what happened to Kurisu first, and then about the time machine, because she probably realized that Okabe would turn off Amadeus.
タイムマシン。
クリスは中鉢論文に関わっている。そう言ったのはあなたよ。ねえ、あの子は本当にタイムマシンを？
あ。
How should I answer that? Last time she'd been trying to decrypt Kurisu's laptop. I was willing to tell her what I'd experienced in order to get her to stop. In the end, I'd lost the chance, though. But things were different now. Kurisu's laptop was gone. There was no reason to bring it up anymore. But then Maho said something I didn't expect.
実は私、この半年、本来の研究と並行でタイムマシンの研究をしていたの。
なんだって。
クリスにできたのなら私もって思ってしまって。歪んだ対抗意識ね。意地になっているのかも。でもね、もしタイムマシンを作ることができたらクリスのことを救えるかもって。
Oh!
やめろ。
Yep! The response I was expecting. This was awful. Why bring it up now? Maho was still haunted by Kurisu's death just as much as I was.
バカなことは考えるな。
岡部さん。
マキセクリスを救おうなんて考えるんじゃない。そんな可能性はゼロなんだ。神の設営がそれを許さない。
やっぱりあなた、やっぱり何か知っているのね。
Oh, this is a hell of a conversation. Maho got closer to me.
もしかして実現させたの？クリスはタイムマシンを完成させている？あなたはそれに乗ってすでに人類初のタイムトラベルを行ったんでしょ？そうなんだわ。
根拠があって言っているのか。
I pretended to remain calm. Maho seemed shocked at her own words.
ごめんなさい。私どうかしているわ。こんな妄想を口にするなんて。
ヒアジョさん。
Maho started to cry. I didn't know what to do when she started crying right in front of me.
どうしたのかしら。私こんな急に全然泣くつもりなんて。
She used her fingers to wipe away the tears. She seemed pretty unstable. I could sense a lot more fragility than I'd seen before. She looked like she'd been psychologically pushed to the limit. Well, yeah, she's been, like, basically not sleeping because she's doing all this different research. And she's learned about this conspiracy. That would push anyone to the limit. All the things she'd experienced must have taken a toll on her. Oh yeah, and then the other shit too. When we were talking on video chat, I hadn't seen any signs of that at all. Should I tell her? If she was researching a time machine, that was a bad sign. She might start looking into things and open doors that should remain closed. If that was the case, I should tell her what I experienced, and then have her give up, just like I did.
わかった。俺が経験したことを話そう。絶対に誰にも他言無用だ。それともう一度これだけは言っておく。マキセ・クリスを救おうとは考えるな。いいな。
She nodded as she wiped away the tears. I told her about the events in the Alpha World Line, about the time machine, about reading Steiner, about the method of sending memories back through time that I called a time leap, about how Kurisu had developed a time leap machine that made this possible, about Suzuha Amane, the time traveler from the year 2036, about the future Suzuha had told us about and the Third World War, and about how the race to develop a time machine would set off that war. I told her all these things as matter-of-factly as I could. As for how Kurisu died, I couldn't tell her that. When I told her everything, she fell silent for a bit. She took a deep breath, frowned, and rubbed her temples.
頭が痛いわ。
すべて信じる必要はない。俺の頭がおかしいと思っても構わない。だが、もし君がタイムマシンの研究を続けてマキセ・クリスを救おうとするなら、俺はどんな手段を使っても止めるつもりだ。だから変な考えは捨てるんだ。自分を追い詰めるのはよせ。
I was about to say more, but Maho put her hand up to stop me.
もう少し整理させて。あなたの言うリーディングシュタイナーって新型脳炎のことじゃないの？レスキネン教授が話していた症状と同じだわ。
そうだな。そうかもしれない。レスキネン教授には話すべきかどうかまだ迷っているんだ。無用な混乱を招くかもしれないし。君はどう思う？
私に聞かないで。
Maho was still massaging her temples with her fingers.
そうだな。すまない。
あなたはクリスのノート PC を本当に破壊してしまったの？
ああ、壊した。
中身は見た？
ロックの解除方法がわからなかったんだ。見ようがない。
Even Daru said he couldn't do it. There was no way I could do it on my own.
あなたはクリスが書いたタイムマシンに関するオリジナルの論文を読んだの？
いや。
Maho kept asking me questions. She seemed to be in some kind of strange hurry.
あなたはクリスがどうやってタイムリープマシンを完成させたか知っているの？
おおよそはな。
再現できる？
どうだろうか。
No.
ダルの助けがあれば、あるいは。
Wrong thing to say! Wrong thing to say! Wrong thing to say!
できるのね。
俺一人じゃ難しい。
私なら。
そんなことは考えるな。
Maho suddenly grimaced as if she was in pain. I realized how pale she was.
ヒヤジョさん、大丈夫か？
Did she really have a headache or something?
少し横になるか？
But she shook her head and kept asking questions.
タイムマシンは今どこにあるの？鈴葉さんが乗ってきたという。それはどこに？どこなの？
I wasn't sure if I should say without Suzuha's permission.
秋葉原だ。
Oh, this is where it gets to be a bad ending. I see the threads now. Maho looked so desperate that I found myself answering her question.
ラジカンの屋上に今もある。
No, dude. No, 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 no.
そう。
Her shoulders slumped and her head drooped. I was worried that she might ask to see it for herself, but maybe she really was sick.
本当に平気か？
I put my hand on her shoulder and looked at her face.
今日はもう休んだ方が。
Huh? What? There was no warning at all. Maho's tiny body slammed into me. The force was enough to push me back to the wall.
何を？
Before I knew what was happening, her arm was against my throat. What the fuck? She was using the bone in her arm to put pressure on my windpipe. I couldn't breathe or speak. I twisted my body and tried to resist, still clueless as to what was going on. Then she used her other hand to grab my head and slam it back into the wall. Jesus Christ! Her strength was incredible. I was a lot bigger than she was, but still, I couldn't escape her grasp.
残念だわ。岡部さん。
Her voice was very dark and very cold. And suddenly she moaned again and her face twisted in pain. Oh god, she's a sleeper agent too!
頭が割れそうよ。
She was crying again.
なんで
Up, up, up. Get the scroll
なんで
wheel.
私に話してくれたのよ。あなたは黙っているべきだったのに。
I couldn't escape. I grabbed onto her long hair and tried to pull her away, but she didn't move at all. It was as if she felt no pain. My phone had been vibrating in my pocket for a while now. I desperately grabbed for it. I pressed the button without even looking at the screen. Please answer, Kurisu. I was blacking out. Was I going to die here? Without even knowing why Maho was trying to kill me? But the whole time she was strangling me, Maho looked like she was in so much pain. And wait, was she still crying? Before I could figure out if her tears were real or an act, I passed out. Okay, we can play for another scene. When I woke up, my throat hurt. I tried to cover my mouth with my hands, but something was keeping them from moving. Oh, okay, this is the part where he gets tortured. Okay. I opened my eyes and saw that I was sitting in some kind of chair with my head facing downwards. I slowly raised my head. My hands were tied to the armrests with zip ties. When I tried to break out, the ties dug into my skin and hurt very badly. I tried looking around. It was a room I'd never seen before. There were machines that looked like they belonged in the operating room of a hospital. But the wall was also lined with monitors, like some kind of guard room or control room. I couldn't see any windows, so I had no idea where I was. My throat hurt when I tried to talk. And then I remembered that Maho had almost killed me. Why had she done that? I felt more confused than angry.
やあ、リンタロウ、目が覚めたかい？
I heard footsteps and saw a wavering shadow beneath the dim fluorescent lights in front of me. I knew that voice.
レスキネン教授。
気分はどうかな？喉が渇いたなら水を用意させるよ。
When I looked again, I saw that he wasn't alone. There were several men behind him in black suits. They were looking at me without saying a word. All of them were holding guns. They looked like MIBs and reminded me of the foreigners I almost ran into at Daru's shop 6 months ago. Or was it the same group?
これは一体。
There were a lot of things I wanted to ask, but more than anything, I wanted to know why Dr. Leskinen wasn't helping me. Of course, the first thing that came to mind was the obvious answer. It was Dr. Leskinen who had put me here, and Maho had captured me under his orders. But I didn't want to think about that.
ここはどこですか？
So all I could ask was a stupid question like that.
私の目に狂いはなかったよ。君はまさに情報の宝庫だ。今や合衆国大統領にも匹敵する価値のある人物と言ってもいい。
He didn't answer me, but he showed me a self-satisfied smile. I could feel alarm bells going off in my head. I was getting more suspicious of Dr. Leskinen.
俺は監禁されてるんですか？
監禁というよりは保護と言った方がいいだろうね。君の価値が明らかになれば狙ってくる連中はたくさん出てくるはずだからね。
レスキネン教授が指示したんですか？
そうだよ。私がこうすべきだと判断した。魔法から君の持つ情報について聞いてね。
ヒアジョーさんはどこです？
ホテルで休んでるんじゃないかな。
ヒアジョーさんは俺から情報を引き出すために近づいてきたんですか？
最初はそうではなかったよ。結果的にはそうなったけれどね。
あなたも俺に親切にしてくれたのもそういう打算があったからですか？あなたは一体何者なんです？
まあまあ落ち着けなさい。前に教えただろう。科学者たるもの常に冷静でなければいけない。興奮していいのは実験が成功した時だけだと。
Instead of feeling calm, Dr. Leskinen's attitude was pissing me off. I felt betrayed. There was rage, frustration, sorrow, and a lot of other feelings all mixed together as I gritted my teeth. Dr. Leskinen ignored me and gave a brief order in English to the other men. They left the room. Only Dr. Leskinen and I remained.
さて、リンタロウ。私のもう一つの仕事の話をしよう。
Oh? Let me guess, you work for the military, don't ya?
もう一つの仕事。
It was then that I remembered the other world line that I'd been sent to. Shimoyama had told me that an American organization had demanded that I be turned over.
CIA か NSC か。
But Dr. Leskinen only chuckled.
一緒にされては心外だな。彼らは無能な公務員の集まりだよ。君はストラテジック・フォーカス社というアメリカの民間情報機関を知っているかな？
Yep, there's Stratfor!
ストラテジックフォーカス社。
I had heard of them before on a conspiracy theory site that the old me used to read all the time.
ストラト4
I remembered reading that they'd acquired top secret information on Russian ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation, and at the same time the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I'd even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone and spread it as needed. The world's government supposedly called them the Shadow CIA.
あなたがそのストラト4だって。でも脳科学研究所の主任研究員じゃ。
本業はそっちだよ。もちろんね。ところで私はよくこういう説を唱える連中に出くわすんだ。人間は殺し合いをする猿である。人間の脳だけが大脳神秘質の発達によって狂った信仰や野望を持つようになり、そのせいで戦争が起きる。だが私はそうした説を聞くたびに思うのさ。そんなバカみたいな考え方は受け入れられない。でたらめだとね。
I do have to say though, the line, they tell me that humans are just monkeys that murder each other. So monkeys! They already do that! Especially like when you look at great apes. I know they're not monkeys. But neither are we. We are also great apes, so I'm including them in this conversation. But like, chimps are murderous bastards. Chimps will kill each other, like, just because, kind of. I mean, at least that's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but from what I've heard, like, chimps are way, way crazier than we are.
ではなぜ人間同士の不毛な戦争がいつまでも終わらないのか。わかるかな、レンタロウ。
I mean, it's a lot of different things, to be honest.
それはね、情報のせいなんだよ。人間は誰しもあるコミュニティに属している軍隊だ。個人個人は自主的に行動しているつもりでいても、実は全ての脳はそのコミュニティに流布されている情報によってつながっている。
I mean, I can see what he's getting at here. That's kind of like... It's kind of the idea of, like... If you limit people's access to different information, it's like, I think the example that I heard once in, like, a video, I think it was actually, like, analyzing Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club, of all things. But it mentioned, like, someone who grew up in a religious community and was told, like, yes, the ideal is to be a priest. And... like, just lives their whole life not knowing that they can be anything other than that, well, they're gonna aspire to be a priest. And they're, like, odds are if they know no other route in life, they're not gonna aspire to a different route in life. So depending on the information that you get, and depending on the resources around you, yeah, that's kind of what dictates your desires to some extent.
そして一つの群れとして生きることを余儀なくされているのさ。
Well, yeah, because we're social animals. We kind of need that. We weren't made to be solitary. The only reason why we made it this fucking far is because we cooperated and worked with one another.
例を挙げてみよう。そうだな。例えは悪いが。ヨーロッパのある国が行った人類史上最悪の大虐殺は何も中世の魔女狩りの時代に起こった出来事じゃない。20世紀も半ば、すでに原子爆弾すら作られていたそんな時代の話なんだよ。しかもその国は当時最先端の文明国家の一つだった。その国の指導者の資質問題は歴史学者に委ねるとして。 実際の現場で虐殺に手を染めた人々のことを君は知っているかい？彼らはただの人殺しの猿だったのだろうか？違う。彼らはごくありふれた普通の人たちだった。
You know, as much as they are kind of skirting around saying the word, it's like that is actually a thing that I've been thinking about lately. It's like the way that Nazis have been depicted in media a lot. It kind of makes... It's like... It's hard to word this. It makes them seem like inhuman monsters. Monsters is the correct word for them. But they were very much human. Like, they were people. Just like us. And in those circumstances, like, with that propaganda, with those beliefs constantly being espoused at you, and told to you in ways that make them sound sane, any of us could have become a Nazi. We all want to believe that we couldn't. But that's exactly the thing. By making Nazis seem inhuman, we trick ourselves into thinking that, no, those sorts of beliefs could never affect us. We're too smart for that. We would never descend to that. But the fact of the matter is, that exact mindset is what makes people fall down those sorts of rabbit holes. Because they're like, oh, well, I'm not like these guys. I obviously, like, I'm not a monster. Why would I be a monster? It's these people who are bad. It's these people who are fucking everything up. It's these people who are monsters. It's these people who are inhuman. I don't know if I'm getting my points across well. I might just be rambling, and I might just be, like, preaching to the choir. I don't fucking know. I'm, like... It's just... I don't know. I don't know how to word it. It's just like, you are not immune to propaganda. And always try to consider, whenever you see someone being set up as, like, subhuman, question why it is. And question whether or not it's a good thing. Because, of course, we all want to put a wall between ourselves and the fucking Nazis. Because they were fucking Nazis! Or at least I would hope we all do, but I mean, looking at the state of the world, it's, Anyways, I try not to get into, like, real-world politics here, but, like, when this topic comes up just straight up in the fucking game I'm playing, and especially when I'm also playing Disco Elysium, it's kinda hard for me not to do that at the moment. But yeah, what I'm trying to get at here is, like, it's similar with, like, people who are like, I am completely immune to cults, because I know what cults are. There are people who wear, like, shadowy cloaks, and they go into the woods at night and they sacrifice animals over pentagrams. And it's like, the average cult does not look like that. The average cult looks like a group of friends. And the second that you believe that you would not fall for a cult is when a cult can get you. It's the same thing with what I'm talking about. Anyways, that got real fucking dark, didn't it? Also, my cat is now chewing on paper. Can you stop? I'm having a serious conversation. God damn.
脳科学的に見ても何一つ異常の見られない普通の脳だったはずだ。ところがひとたびそこにとある最悪の情報が伝播すると途端に彼らの脳は平気で虐殺を行う軍隊と化してしまう。
Yep. That is what it is. It is very much just, you are not immune to propaganda.
Festa,
can you stop, ma'am? This is such a serious moment, and she's playing with a paper bag. Oh, I know what you want. Okay, just a second. Just a second. You want me to put the paper bag on the ground so you can climb aside? Can you get down from there? Come on. Vesta, 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 Vesta. Hey, hey, you're knocking things over. Don't. Come on. Please. There we go. There we go. Okay, you want in the paper bag? You can go in the paper bag. Alright. Anyways. Sorry for the ramble. Like I said, it's a thing that's been on my mind for a little bit.
これは我々の使命なのだ。我々は正しいのだ。だから使命に従わない者は悪なのだ。そういう情報さ。
何が言いたいんですか？
Vesta, you need to get down. You're blocking the screen, please.
情報は
Please sit on
き
your
ちん
cat tower.
と
There
制
you
御
are.
で
Good
きる
girl.
ものが管理しなくてはならないということだよ。
Okay, okay, okay. You're kind of slipping down the slippery slope here, buddy.
それがストラテジックフォーカスの最終目的だ。
Which is great, but like, you know that, like, the idea of like, oh, we need to limit what information people receive so they don't make bad choices. That's like textbook dystopian society, man! You can't be doing that!
私はそれに共感して脳科学者でありながらエージェントとして協力している。分かってくれたかな？
わかりません。そんなのよくある映画の悪役のへりくつだ。
That's true too. That's true too. That was very much just a villain monologue.
結局あなたは金で情報を売買してるだけじゃないですか。
That is also true. It's like you made some good points and then you just completely lost the plot.
俺が情報の宝庫だって言いましたよね。タイムマシンの情報を一体どの国に売るつもりです？アメリカ、中国、それとも中東やアフリカの紛争地域ですか？
そのすべてだよ。
Oh, you're the one that starts World War III. Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. Leskinen shrugged his shoulders and quietly laughed.
核兵器と同じさ。抑止力としてあらゆる国に必要だと思っている。
That's not gonna work! That's not gonna work, buddy! The reason why no one wants to use nukes is because if too many other people use nukes, the world ends. That's not clear-cut with time machines!
それが使われたかどうか誰も気づかない。もしかしたら使った本人さえも気づかないうちに世界は改変されてしまうんだ。抑止力になんかならない。どの国も誰がどう世界線をいじったのかすら感知できないまま狂ったように改変を続けるでしょう。永遠に。
その通り。タイムマシンは核兵器以上にデリケートだ。だからこそ君たちの能力が必要となる。君は確かリーディングスタイナーと名付けたそうだね。どうやら新型脳炎とほぼ同じ症例だとか。
Okay, Vesta, please get down from there, please. That's right, Leskinen was researching the new encephalitis too.
我々は新型脳炎患者が過去改変を感知できるのかもしれないというところまでは突き止めていてね。ずっとその確証を求めていたんだ。世界中の諜報機関も同じ躍起になって調べている。
I hated myself for not realizing the possibility sooner. I'd always had the wrong idea. I thought that the reason the new encephalitis patients were being brought together was just to give them meaningless treatment. But I was naive. Too naive. Leskinen and Stratfor's goal was to gather people with reading Steiner and study them.
さっき真帆から君の特筆すべき能力のことを詳細に聞かせてもらったよ。本来君からはクリスの失われた成果について聞き出せればそれでいいと思っていたが、新型脳炎の情報まで出てくるとは、君は最高だよ。ここでも我々は世界に対して一歩先んじることができる。というか、君はどうしてもっと早く私にその能力のことを話してくれなかったんだい。そうすれば君の友人勝美の脳もあそこまでいろいろといじくらないで済んだのに。
Katsumi? Oh right, that's fucking Fubuki. Katsumi. Katsumi Nakase. Did he mean Fubuki?
それに君が話してくれていたなら魔法の脳に施術をすることもなかったんだ。
比叡さんまで。
Was that why she was acting so weird?
あなたの助手だろ。あなたを尊敬し慕っていたのに、そんな人体実験みたいな真似を。よくも。
今後人類に貢献する情報を手に入れるために必要なことだったんだ。それにそんなに慌てなくても大丈夫。魔法も勝美も将来少し脳機能に障害が残る程度で済むはずだ。
あんた狂ってる。
For the first time, I felt hatred for and fear of the man in front of me. I couldn't believe that this was the same man I'd respected so much.
リーディングスタイナー保有者の脳を調べればもっといろいろな発見があるだろう。それをタイムマシンとセットで売れば世界の軍事バランスは完全に保たれる。戦争も回避できるんだ。
No, you're going to cause it, dude!
君にもぜひ協力してほしい。
Leskinen's mannerisms hadn't changed a bit even as he spoke of these horrifying things. He spoke of these insane things in the same manner that Maho once described as like a mischievous child's.
俺のことを騙してたんですね。俺に近づいたのはただ俺がクリスと親しかったからだ。クリスの生前の情報を俺から引き出そうとしていた。
I like how it keeps like switching from background to background. I'm just imagining that as Leskinen is like walking by, he's just like slowly spinning Okabe around to follow him.
騙していたつもりはないよ。君と最初に会ったのは偶然だ。エムディオスのテスターを頼んだのは君がクリスの友人だからというのが大きかったがね。ただ君のことを知るうちに純粋に興味を持ったのは本当だ。今でも思っているよ。私の下で研究員になってくれたら嬉しいとね。だがそれとこれとは別の話なんだ。さっき言っただろう。君は今この時点で合衆国大統領に匹敵するレベルの重要人物だと。私個人の考えよりも我々の仕事を優先せざるを得ないんだ。未来の人類の平和のために。
You mean it's future destruction?
残念だ、リンタロウ。そして楽しみでもある。
it's funny because he said all that stuff about how, like, people getting the wrong information can drive them to do insane things. And he's doing the exact same fucking thing and doesn't have the self-awareness to realize it. Like, that's genuinely really good writing, but also, fuck, man, please introspect just a little bit.
Kimi no motsu jouhou no zenbou wo watashi wa hayaku shiritakute uzu-uzu shiteiru yo.
地獄に落ちろ。
これから君の記憶データを取らせてもらう。
Okay, Vesta, are you sitting on my keyboard? Okay, good. Okay, you can... Vesta, you can stay there. You're not blocking the screen. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay, baby. Oh, no, you got the zoomies, don't you? No, we're not playing right now. No, come on. Thank you.
君の記憶をアメデウスシステムとして使わせてもらうんだ。面白いアイデアだろ?
Here, play with this Pocky box that I have laying around. You might hear her batting at this box. She wants to play, and she's not going to stop potentially messing with the stream until she has at least a little bit of playtime. Normally I play with her as soon as I get home from work, but I did not have the chance to today. Sorry, Vesta. I'm sorry. A lot is happening.
そうすれば、君が不良の事故で死んでも、君の記憶は残る。
Ooh, that's bad.
あは、心配しなくてもいい。元より殺すつもりなどないよ。人間というのはエムデウスよりもセキュリティが甘いんだ。苦痛を味わうと、それから逃れるために簡単に情報を漏らす。
Okay, here's the thing. So this is a common belief that, like, yeah, you can torture information out of someone, but, like, I actually did some research on it because, I was writing a story that had, like, a bit of a plot line where it's like, oh yeah, this person might get tortured for information. What does that look like? Because these are the kinds of things that you need to research as a writer sometimes, as dark as they are. And an interesting thing that I read is that actually, torture does not work like that. People either get more stubborn because they hate their captors more, so of course they don't want to give out information. Or they'll give false information to escape because, once again, they come to hate their captors. Why would they want to just give them what they want? Maybe some people would, like, under the pressure of torture, just be like, okay, I'll tell you everything and tell the truth. But also, there are plenty of people, and in fact, the majority of people don't work like that. Or, alternatively, in too much pain, people can't think properly. So, they might actually end up in a situation where the person they're torturing is too mentally fucked up to actually give them the information anymore. It's like, it doesn't work. People believe it works. It does not work. I always found that really interesting, and this is exactly why it's like, even if the subject is dark, I do like to do a bit of research into the things that I write about. Because that's a really interesting angle to take, where it's like, okay, what would this character do in this situation? What kind of, like, person, like, in this situation? How do they handle it? Do they get out of it? That's kind of the question you have to ask in, like, all situations in writing, but especially, like, the really, really dark ones, the really, like, intense moments. That's when you really have to think about what kind of person your character is. And it's, like, once I knew that, once it was like, okay, the options aren't just grit your teeth and bear it, or tell all the information, it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's more interesting, actually. And also, it makes you kind of wonder, like, okay, well, what kind of person is the one doing this? And that can lead to, like, some really interesting plot developments. Again, super fucking dark! Like, you obviously can't do that in every story. In at least this particular scenario. But it is some interesting stuff to like, look through. It's the same reason why I know stuff about cults, to be honest, because I have a villain that I have basically made to be like, without giving too much away about the story, because I do want to share it with you guys someday, whenever it is actually fucking made, when I fucking actually do it, when I do the thing, please. I've been trying to do this for 10 years. It's driving me a little bit nuts at this point. But, basically, my idea for the villain was originally she was a pure evil villain. She's kind of evolved. She's still a bit of a pure evil villain. But I was kind of like, okay, she's almost a cross between an abusive partner and a cult leader. Which often are, like, one and the same when you're dealing with cult leaders. But it's like, in order to get there, I'm like, okay, well, what do cults use to recruit people? And it's very, very gradual shit. Like, it's stuff like love bombing. It's stuff like slowly isolating you from all of your closest companions. It's slowly increasing their control over your life. Until eventually, like, it's boiling the frog. By the time you realize you're in too deep, your only friends are the cult members. The only people close to you are the cult members. Your entire life is dictated by the cult. And at that point, it's extremely fucking hard to break out. Because in order to break out, you basically have to cut every close tie you have left in your life with other people. That's how they get you. It's like, I want to recommend that everyone look up stuff about that, because I do think, like, also, abusive partners do tend to do the same thing. And I know that's, like, a heavy fucking subject to bring up now, but we are also we talked about Nazis before. Like, fuck, I can talk about abusive partners, but, like, the content warning for that, but it is a very similar thing to what abusive partners will do. And this is why it's like a lot of people will get into relationships and think like, oh man, my partner is perfect, they're amazing, they're great. And then they get married, and then they move in together. And then the bad shit starts happening. Or it doesn't even have to go that far. It can just be a very, very gradual thing. A gradual weakening of your resolve, essentially. A weakening of your self-esteem. A weakening of your ties with the people around you. And at that point, it's like, you trust your partner. Because that should be what a partnership is. You should be able to trust them. And they take advantage of it. And they use it against you. And they twist your mind so that this way, you believe that they're right. You believe that they're trying to help you. And it's fucked. It is absolutely ungodly fucked that human beings will do that to one another. Fucking absolutely disgusting on every fucking level. I'm getting a little too intense about this. Sorry, guys. As mentioned, I've done research on these things, and it's horrifying. The things that people will do to other people. Especially the things that people will do to other people because they think they deserve it. It's fucked.
秘密保持のセキュリティなどないに等しい。拷問が通用しないエメデウスより生身の君の相手をする方がずっと楽だ。記憶データを取るのはバカップだと思ってくれたまえ。例えば君が拷問に耐えきれず精神崩壊を起こしてしまったとしても、近い将来記憶データを君の脳にダウンロードして回復させることもできるからね。
Also, if I didn't make it fucking clear earlier, when I said it's fucked what people will do to people that they think deserve it, what I mean is, nobody fucking deserves it. The only potential, like, exception to that is someone who has willfully gone out of their way, numerous times to cause untold harm to other people. And even then, the thing is, that's a slippery goddamn slope. To steal a quote from Discworld, or at least a paraphrased quote from Discworld. I haven't actually read this book yet, but, like, I saw this section online and it kind of stuck with me. Sin is when you treat people like things. And that's what it boils down to. The second you stop seeing other people, no matter what group they're in, as not people, you are losing the plot. Because people can be fucking horrible, but at the same time, it's like... It's a slippery slope to say, okay, these people deserve to have horrible things happen to them, because then you can be convinced that, like, a certain person is also part of that group. And it may not be true. And of course, it's different in the case of, like, you know, convicted murderers, which is, like, the group I was talking about, where it's like, yeah, no, they've, like, done this multiple times, like, convicted serial killers. It's like, yes, I do think that awful things should happen to them. Same with, like, people who commit CSA. I genuinely believe that horrible things should happen to those people because they have done horrible, horrible things to other people. And just SA as a whole, like, Jesus Christ. But at the same time, those ideas can get levied against different groups. I mean, I'm beating around the bush, but it's like, for a long time, people claim that all gay people were pedophiles. So it's like, if you're someone who believes that all pedophiles deserve to be killed, and you get convinced by a bunch of other people that, yeah, no, this group is all just full of pedophiles, all of a sudden, this entire group of people, where that statement doesn't even fucking apply to them, now you also see them as pure evil. As something that can just be destroyed. Like, you have to see people as people. Awful people, sure. But you still have to see them as people. Anyways, I'm rambling! I keep rambling my point. I think it's because I just assume that I'm gonna be misunderstood and people are gonna take it in, like, the worst possible way, but I keep forgetting that there's no way to explain yourself out of being willfully misunderstood. Anyways, this is all beside the point. It is all beside the point. Let's get back to the fucking visual novel. I've already gone on for 2 hours. I was supposed to end at 1. Jesus, all right.
君も私の公演に参加していたから知っているだろう。まず記憶データの取得。その後で君自身からいろいろなことを教えてもらう予定だ。忙しくなるぞ。さあ、リラックスして。そうでないとデータを正常に取得できないからね。
レスキあんたは
そんな顔をしても誰も助けには来ない。ここは我々ストラットフォーが管理する場所だからね。
Oh boy.
我々以外には誰も知らない。誰もだ。
I was too stunned to think. There was nowhere to run. My knees shook in terror as I imagined what was about to happen to me. Maybe it would have been better to die. And then I felt sick as I remembered that I was fated not to die until 2025. Hey, that year looks familiar! If no amount of torture could kill me. This was literally hell. I want to end off here, but, like, fuck. You know what? I am just gonna have to end up here. I'm gonna have to end here because I am tired. Why can't I save? Why can't I save? Oh no, that was load. That was load. God damn it. Man, I get serious about things one time, and I forget how to operate a human brain. Oh, I forgot that the way that the game does this is, like, top down instead of left to right. I guess I should expect that. It is a Japanese game. They don't typically write things from left to right, but, like, still, you know. Also, I'm gonna double save because I have to. Wait, what is this locked? What does that mean? I've never really thought of that before. I thought it was just unlocked as in like, oh, you unlocked this scene. What the fuck does that mean? Anyways, we have definitely saved so I can quit. All right. Well, I'm sorry that it got so, goddamn dark at the end. I'll be honest, did not realize it would take that turn. And as you can probably imagine, also I realized the chat is, like, fucking small. I think it's because, whenever I was streaming with Val before, I just kind of, I just kind of, like, squished the chat down because I didn't think I had room. Anyways. But yeah, like, I guess take everything that I said before as, like, my personal philosophy. It's my own opinions, and you're free to disagree with, like, a lot of it. Like, obviously not about the part where it's like, yeah, no, don't be a Nazi. That one I feel like is just common sense. At least, I fucking hope it is. But, God only knows. I'm sure there's someone out there who will fucking jump down my throat about it, and I don't want to fucking hear it. It's just, yeah, like I've mentioned before, in researching those kinds of topics, it's made me, like, I guess kind of empathize with the victims of people like that. And that's why I'm so, like, that's why I kind of wanted to tell you guys about it, because it's like, I never knew that was how this sort of person operated. Like, before I started doing this research. I also thought that cults were just like, oh yeah, they worship the devil, and they sacrifice the animals, and they wear the black coats, and they do the chants. And also, like, whenever it came to abusive partners, like, all I'd ever seen in media was, like, partners who were physically abusive. And it's like, yeah, that's also an aspect. That's also definitely an aspect of a lot of abusive relationships. But there are plenty that are just verbal abuse, emotional abuse, even financial abuse. And I feel like it's not discussed enough how people end up in those situations, because there's this sort of stigma behind it, where it's almost like people who end up in those situations are seen as stupid or weak, and they're not. They're just people who put trust in the wrong things. And it's fucked! Anyways, I keep fucking repeating my point after I say that I'm not gonna repeat my point anymore. Anyways, fuck! And I keep apologizing for it being dark, and then I make it darker! I'm just, Sorry about the weird tone at the end of this one. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I feel people kind of, like, not really glaze over. Like, we do discuss these things a lot more, but the thing is, it's like, we don't always give clear examples as to, like, how these things happen, and how different ways that people can be conditioned to accept just horrible, horrible circumstances. I would highly recommend also doing your own research into these things, if you can stomach it. Like, don't force yourself to do it if you don't feel like you can mentally handle it, or emotionally handle it. It's extremely goddamn heavy. And reading accounts of people who've survived these things is fucking harrowing. Because, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I read stories like that, I imagine myself in those situations. And I can only fucking imagine how horrible it is. So, yeah. Oh, speaking of how horrible it is, fuck. Next stream is sure gonna be one hell of a bad ending. Jesus Christ. I mean, I was right. But being right sucks. At least sometimes. At least sometimes being right sucks. Sometimes it's great. I love whenever I get something right at work instead of making dumb mistakes. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself on that one. But, yeah. So, anyways, end of stream housekeeping. Because, oh god, I said it was going to be shorter. And then I went just as long. So, if you're new around here, you like what you saw, you were able to put up with my fucking yapping at the end of this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you'll be notified whenever I go live. This is a hell of a bad stream to start with, I think, because of how heavy it got. Normally it doesn't get this dark. If you do want to watch a VOD of mine that's a little bit more lighthearted, I would recommend, I did like a Sims 3 stream a couple years back, where I made a serial killer named Scarecrow Pepsi, who just, sacrificed people to a cow plant in her basement, and it was one of the most chaotic streams I've ever done. Also, I would highly recommend checking out me and Val's playthrough. Me and my friend Valerie Valkyrie, I've just realized that I'm saying this to fucking new subscribers. Or I'm trying to. I would highly recommend checking out also our recent live streams of Disco Elysium. Those are also on my channel. And we also reference our Great Ace Attorney playthrough. That's on Valerie Valkyrie's channel. Highly recommend you watch that one too. And also, just watch Val's stuff. I'm plugging my friend even though she's not on stream. I don't know if that's weird. But, yeah. So, also, if you want to be notified whenever I might cancel a stream, whenever a stream might be late, when I'm like, a stream might be shorter, when I'm streaming with a friend who I'm not streaming my side on this channel. I've done that a whole bunch with a couple of my good friends, Plague, Psycho Rabbit, and also Val, over on Psycho Rabbit and Plague's Twitch accounts. I always link those in my Blue Sky. It's the same URL as my Twitter. I've just never replaced it. At this point, I think I'm just gonna, like, put a strike through Twitter and then just, like, slap the Blue Sky logo over top. I think that'd be a funny way to do it, because at this point, I'm just like, okay, doing this genuinely is not gonna happen. Someday I'll remember. You know what? I'm gonna write it down on a post-it note. It won't happen for a while because I have so much else on my plate right now. But, I will write fix overlay remove Twitter. Oh, writing by hand is so slow. I remember why I don't do it for my writing. Anyways, but yeah, so, highly recommend you check me out over there. Also, because I shitpost a lot, I talk about Pokemon TCG and all the bullshit that I do. I've been so pissed off at that game lately. It feels like every deck that I make, I can't tell if they're underpowered, or if they're just, if I'm just getting really bad luck against the wrong people. I think it's just underpowered, but then again, it's like I keep doing pulls to get the more powerful cards, and the game is not giving me them. So, but yeah, it's like hopefully at some point I'll be able to fucking, maybe it's also because at the moment they're doing one of those events where you have to get a consecutive amount of wins. So maybe people are just using like super cheap strats at the moment. Like, I don't know. But I've tried using those same cheap strats and they don't fucking work for me, so I don't know. Anyways, hopefully by next time I'll also have my soundboard back from, the clutches of VoiceMod v3. And hopefully next time I won't have so many technical difficulties. And hopefully next time will be, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. Because, admittedly, I was gonna try to stream next Wednesday. I don't think I'll have the brain power, I'll be real. Between, like, working all week, going to visit friends all weekend, and then going for another full week of work, like, I am gonna need the rest. But anyways, speaking of rest, you guys have a great night. Sweet dreams. Stay safe. Don't get tortured by intelligence agencies. I've heard that it's not a good time. And don't join a cult. And remember that you're not immune to propaganda. I think these are all the messages that we can get from today's stream. Anyways, goodbye, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!